Phil Robertson, a man known for his rugged look, deep Southern voice, unwavering faith, and his place at the helm of one of America's most beloved reality TV families. But in 2025, the world bid farewell to the Duck Dynasty patriarch. His death on May 25, 2025, at the age of 79, marked the end of an era. This is a look into the full life of Phil Robertson, his journey, family, fortune, home life, and the values he stood for until the very end. Born on April 24, 1946, in Vivian, Louisiana, Phil Alexander Robertson came from very modest beginnings. Raised in a house with no electricity or indoor plumbing, he knew hardship from a young age. But those hard years also taught him self-reliance, the value of family, and the importance of faith, values that would shape his life forever. In high school, Phil was a standout athlete, particularly in football. That talent earned him a scholarship to Louisiana Tech University, where he played as a starting quarterback, ahead of none other than future NFL Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw. Despite the potential of an NFL career, Phil walked away from football. Why? Because it interfered with duck hunting. That passion for hunting would eventually become his legacy. After college, Phil's life went through a dark period. Struggles with alcohol and infidelity nearly tore his young family apart. But in the 1970s, everything changed. Phil turned to Christianity, left behind his destructive habits, and embraced a new purpose. That conversion changed not only his life, but the trajectory of his entire family. He married his high school sweetheart, Marcia Kay Miss Kay Caraway, in 1966. Together, they raised 4 sons, Alan, Jace, Willie, and Jep. Their marriage faced tests, but it endured, rooted in a shared faith and deep family bond. In 2020, Phil discovered he had a daughter, Phyllis, from a brief affair decades earlier. Rather than deny her, Phil welcomed her into the family. That act of acceptance and grace spoke volumes about the man he had become. Phil turned his duck hunting passion into a business. In 1972, he founded Duck Commander, a company dedicated to manufacturing high-quality duck calls. His unique design, the Duck Commander call, mimicked the exact sounds of ducks and became a hit with hunters. Under his leadership, the business flourished. But it was his son Willie who later expanded it into a multi-million-dollar empire. In 2012, the Robertson family found themselves on television. Duck Dynasty, a reality show airing on A&E, followed the lives of Phil, his sons, and their extended family as they managed the Duck Commander business. It wasn't just a show about duck calls, it was about values, humor, faith, and family. The show became a cultural phenomenon, with Phil at its center. Phil's unapologetically Christian worldview made him a beloved figure to millions, and a controversial one to others. He didn't shy away from expressing his opinions, which at times sparked public backlash. In 2013, comments made during an interview with GQ magazine led to a brief suspension from Duck Dynasty. But his family and loyal fans stood by him, and the show returned stronger than ever. While controversy came and went, Phil stayed grounded. He continued preaching, hosting Bible studies at his home, and spreading his faith wherever he went. He authored multiple books, including Happy, Happy, Happy and The Theft of America's Soul, which gave readers insight into his beliefs and life lessons. So, where did Phil call home? He lived in West Monroe, Louisiana, in a house not far from the Duck Commander warehouse. Despite the family's wealth, Phil lived simply. His home reflected his lifestyle, rustic, comfortable, and focused on what mattered most: faith and family. The property included open land, a pond, and the kind of wilderness perfect for hunting and reflection. Inside, the house was filled with family pictures, hunting memorabilia, and Christian decor. There was no pretentiousness, just warmth and tradition. His favorite spot? The back porch, where he'd sit in his worn-down chair with a cup of coffee and his Bible. As for his car collection, Phil was never a man for flashy vehicles. He owned a few pickups over the years, mostly American-made, rugged, and built for utility. His go-to ride was usually a mud-covered truck with gear tossed in the back. That suited him just fine. For Phil, luxury wasn't about chrome rims or leather seats. It was about freedom, nature, and faith. In terms of wealth, Phil Robertson's net worth at the time of his death was estimated at around $10 million. Most of that came from Duck Commander, Duck Dynasty, book deals, and speaking engagements. But Phil never lived lavishly. He often spoke against materialism and preached the importance of living with purpose rather than riches. He once said, "Money can buy a good bed, but it can't buy sleep. It can buy food, but not an appetite. It can buy a house, but not a home." That was Phil's philosophy. He used his wealth to support his church, fund ministries, and take care of his family. Phil's health began to decline in 2024. In December, his family announced that he had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. The news saddened fans across the nation, but the Robertson family handled it with grace and honesty. Phil spent his final months surrounded by loved ones, receiving care at home and continuing to attend family Bible studies. On May 25, 2025, Phil Robertson passed away peacefully in his sleep. He was 79 years old. The cause of death was complications related to Alzheimer's. His last days were marked by prayer, music, and time with family. In one of her final posts before his death, granddaughter Sadie Robertson shared that his parting words to her were, "Full strength ahead," words that captured his spirit even in his final days. The family held a private funeral ceremony attended by close friends, relatives, and church members. They also announced plans for a public celebration of life, inviting fans to honor his memory and legacy. Phil Robertson left behind his wife Kay, 5 children, and numerous grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He also left behind a legacy of faith, integrity, and resilience. He may have started as a poor boy from Louisiana, but he became a national figure who never compromised his beliefs. His impact on American culture, Christian communities, and outdoor enthusiasts is profound. He wasn't just a reality TV star, he was a symbol of what it means to live by your convictions. Phil Robertson taught millions that family comes first, faith guides the way, and true wealth isn't in bank accounts, but in love, legacy, and purpose. His story will continue through the lives of his children and grandchildren, through reruns of Duck Dynasty, and through the hearts of those he inspired. This was the life and legacy of Phil Robertson, a hunter, a father, a preacher, and a man who truly lived full strength ahead.